Hello guys, welcome back my friends. So in this video I'd like to show you how I make capacitor bank, how I wire it. These are Camet 3300 microfarad 500 volt capacitors. This will be used for 5th generation models like BBMPulser 5B and 5S. This is 450 volt DC 3300 microfarad. These are going to be used for 5 basic model. So guys, as you see, these capacitors, they come just like that. They don't come pre-wired, so you need to pre-wire it and make it look like this. Also, you're gonna need to insert this plate. This is made from PCB, printed circuit board, but it has no copper. Or you can remove the copper and use it, or you can use, basic idea is to use the isolation here in between them at the same time as you would want to insulate the second capacitor from your metal case. If you're using a metal casing, then you would want to use this plate here, because these capacitors, they're aluminum, and if you scratch this thin film, you're gonna expose metal casing, and this metal casing is gonna have a half a voltage, which is 400 volt or a little more than that. In the 5th generation S model, it'll have like close to 500 volts on it. So you don't want that 500 volt to touch in the casing or anything, or this capacitor. So that's what I do. I make this plate and I insert it in here, and this prevents capacitor from making any contact, electrical contact with anything. So that's that. For wiring here, I use two types of wires, 12 gauge and 18 gauge, and I don't solder because when I do crimp it, it works really well. So I discovered there's two types of crimps. As you can see, this one has thick walls, and when you crimp it, it holds really well. Also, it doesn't have a hole right here. The other crimps will have a thinner one with thinner walls here. They'll have a hole right here, and that's how you differentiate them. And these ones are more expensive usually. So that's what I use to make a good connection. And this piece is made out of two of these, and I use two 12 gauges in between to connect them, and I crimp them, and then I put a heat shrink over it. So this piece is gonna go over here to connect them in series. So I use two types of heat shrink later on when I crimp the wires for positive and negative. As you know, it's positive and negative wires are a little different. One is longer, so the shorter one is gonna come out here from the negative side, and longer one is gonna come out here from the positive side. So just like here, and they're gonna come out here to this side, and I'll have a circuit right here. So that's where they're gonna connect. That's why I make them like that. Once I crimp him, I will put a heat shrink it over. Also, guys, these bolts here, to go inside here, I discovered that the hole is pretty deep. It's like half an inch. So what they supply with this small short screws, which I don't use. I use these guys here. This is number 10 32 by half an inch stainless screws, and they reach all the way down, and they make a good contact along the way. So later on, when I tighten everything here, I will put a hot glue here. The reason I use a hot glue because this part will never get hot. So once I put a hot glue here, it will stay forever. And also the idea of it is to prevent any electrical contact with dust and shorting in between the capacitors, or accidental touch of any metal to these terminals, because they have close to 1000 volt on them right here on the positive. So that's how I close it and insulated it, and this capacitor is ready to go. Just wanted to show you guys how I make them, and so you do the same, and this seems to be working very well. You're gonna need to get these crimps. They are SC10-6. That's the number of them. SC10-6. Alright guys, if you find this video useful, give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next one.